What's up, everyone? My name is James. I've been with Video Games Monthly for several months now, and I've been wanting to do an unboxing video for quite a while. I just haven't really had the time to sit down and do it. So I finally found some time. Thought it'd be fun to go ahead and give it a shot. Before I do, though, I kind of want to share basically why I signed up. So growing up, my family didn't really have the money to go out and buy brand new games all the time, and used video game stores weren't really a thing where I grew up. So most of the games that I was introduced to were at a friend's house or at like an arcade or something like that. And even when I went out to like rent games, I was always afraid to get something I wasn't sure if I'd like, because I'd be afraid I'd take it home and didn't like it and now my whole weekend's ruined or something like that. So as I got older and I started collecting, I began to realize there was this whole world of video games that I just never introduced myself to. So this month, every game I was sent were games I had never played before. So except for one, there's only one game in here I played as a kid. So we'll go ahead and get started. First game we're going to start with is Disney's Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. I had this, I believe, on my wish list, so I'm glad to be able to scratch that off my list. It's pretty cool, you know. It's challenging. It's an NES game. I guess you can't really expect anything less. But it's kind of cool to kind of see these levels based off like different Disney rides and stuff like that. So pretty cool game. Glad to add that to my collection. Next up, we got Spy Hunter, another game I never played before. Like I said, I really suck at this game. I've played around with it a little bit. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fast paced, but either I don't know what I'm doing or I just suck at it. But it's still pretty cool. So had a lot of fun with that one so far. Next one we got here is Skate or Die. I don't know how I feel about this game yet. I've played it a couple of times. Maybe it's just because I don't understand the controls. I don't know. Or maybe I just suck at it like I do Spy Hunter. Who knows? So, but I'll keep giving it a shot. Still cool to add to my collection. So next up, so the one thing I love about it is, you know, not every game you get is going to be like the most epic game in the world. Occasionally you'll get games like, say, Golf for NES. What I love about this is going back and seeing these old sports games and just seeing how far we've come with, you know, modern day technology. So next up we got Mutants for the Sega Genesis. This was another one I believe I had on my wish list. I played around with it for a little bit. It's kind of like an action platformer, I guess. Seems kind of cool. Then I got stuck, couldn't figure out where to go. Eventually I stopped playing, but definitely one I'll pop back in and give another shot to. Next up we got James Pond for the Sega Genesis. This was a game I did play as a kid. A buddy of mine had this. I didn't really like it so much as a kid, but going back and playing it again, I was like, I actually kind of enjoyed it. It's fun. It's kind of simplistic, but still, you know, fun game. So glad to add that to my collection. I'm pretty sure that was on my wish list as well. So I think a lot of these games are actually on my wish list. Next up, we got Super Tennis for the Super Nintendo. Growing up, tennis was probably the only sport I really played. I played baseball as a kid, but I actually enjoyed tennis. That was the only game I really liked. So I don't have any tennis games in my collection unless you count Wii Sports, but I actually had, you know, this one's actually kind of fun for, you know, for a game like tennis. It doesn't seem like a game you would like to play in a video game, but it controls really well. It looks okay. I mean, graphically, it's, you know, the best it could be, I guess. But it definitely is fun. Next up, we got Street Fighter II for the Super Nintendo. So I actually do own this one on the Sega Genesis, but I love getting games on multiple systems, especially back in the day. You don't notice it so much with today's consoles, but back in the day there was always changes between different consoles, whether it was graphics, music, features in the game, different levels, something like that. It was always cool to see changes that were made to fit the hardware of the system. So glad to add that to my collection as well. Next up, we got this one's kind of curious. This is Coaster Works Build the Ride of Your Life for the Dreamcast. And as you can see, it's actually still sealed. I don't know much about this game. I guess it's like a roller coaster tycoon game. You make your own roller coaster and I guess you get to ride it and stuff like that. I don't know if it's any good, so the thing is, like, I don't really concern myself with sealed games, but I kind of don't want to open it just because it's sealed. I mean, I know it's not worth a whole lot, but I'm afraid to open it because it's sealed. So if any of you think it's worth me checking out, let me know. You know, if not, I might just keep it sealed, and who knows what the next 20 years of my life might bring. So next up is a game. The good thing about Video Games Monthly is they don't tend to send you really, really bad games. But unless you're, you know, stupid like me and you put something on your wish list, well, they're going to honor that. So they sent me WCW's Backstage Assault. So this game is pretty infamous for being probably, I guess, the worst wrestling game on the N64. I didn't have this as a kid. I didn't play it, which was surprising because this would have been like the coolest thing I thought growing up, because, you know, back then with wrestling, any like the hardcore matches were the coolest thing, but I never did pick this one up. But the reason I actually have it on my wish list is I plan on putting together a video for some of my favorite wrestling games on the N64, but also kind of showcasing some of the not so good ones. And well, of course, kind of had to add that one. So thank you, Video Games Monthly, for sparing me the embarrassment of going out and buying this in person. And I actually do mean that. So lastly, there always seems to be one game every month that to me is kind of like the highlight of the whole box. And this month, that game was Batman for the NES. So I'd heard a lot about this game. I'd seen it on a lot of people's like top 10 greatest games for the NES, or top 10 favorite games for the NES, whatever. And from what I've played, I really do enjoy it. It's actually really cool. Controls really, really well, especially for like an NES game. You know, the whole bouncing off the walls and kind of stuff like that, it plays so well. And obviously, you know, for like every other NES game, it's challenging. But if a game is fun, if the controls are good, I don't mind playing a challenging game. I just don't like challenging games because the controls suck, and that's why they're challenging. So this one is definitely one I look forward to playing some more, and I really appreciate getting that one. Lastly, the cool thing is every month you always get some sort of special novelty item with your box, which is kind of neat. This month I got a Luigi Slinky. You probably can't see it. It's actually a Luigi design on it. But yeah, you always get something. Like last month I got like a drink cozy. I've gotten some action figures. So it's another cool perk to having Video Games Monthly. So thank you guys so much for watching. Now before I go, I do want to say the reason I did this video was when I first heard about Video Games Monthly, I was a bit skeptical. But after finding a couple of unboxing videos on YouTube, it definitely convinced me that it was worth checking out. So after being with them for several months, like I said, it's definitely worth checking out. So hopefully somebody out there might find this video and it'll convince them to give them a chance. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys next month.